Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun. I'm your host, Paul Sanneman. I'm founder of Contractor Staffing Source, where we help contractors build great teams. My guest today is Chuck Miller of Chuck Miller Consulting. So, Chuck, tell me, why should people listen to you as a coach? What insights do you have that make you awesome?
Well, I've been in the home building industry for 35 years. And during that time, I saw a lot of my friends and associates crash and burn. And I retired from actually building and remodeling in 2017 and wrote a book to hopefully prevent or help builders to succeed. Uh, The book is titled Plan to Profit Business Planning for Builders and Remodelers.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found is that small construction companies in the United States have the second highest failure rate of any industry. And the statistics are consistent over time, um, which indicates that it has nothing to do with uh, the economy or the market conditions. And what I've found is that the majority of failures are due to the fact that the builder or remodeler just did not do any market research to determine who his market was, where his market was, how to price his product, and how to market it. And so that's what my
Question,
coaching involves.
what percentage is that, Chuck? Is it 10%? What percent fail?
It varies by year, but by the by the fifth year, it's over 25%.
Okay. So your chances of making it are 75% in this industry if you from scratch, statistically, right? So 25% fail.
Right.
Okay. And you say they fail because of they haven't researched your market. So give me an example of like somebody who did it right and somebody who did it wrong. May take it make it a remodeling company. You know, a guy goes out, wants to start a remodeling company. He leaves his old remodeling company. He buys a truck. He's a project manager and says, "I'm going to start a remodeling contractor in Kansas City." Um, what would be doing it right and what would be doing it wrong when you want to start your company?
Well, to do it right, particularly in remodeling, he needs to understand where the demand is and what types of services um, are really required in the market and who um, who his competitors are. You know, you don't want to start a new company and be competing against four or five other very successful contractors who have been in the market for a long time. So uh, you need to kind of determine what market niche you want to try and fit in, and what the demand is in that marketplace. And you can do that by, you know, talking to realtors who specialize in resale markets, um, and just, word of mouth, basically. And,
So
and then,
how do you
like I
how do you,
said,
do you research your competitors? Do you like shop them or talk to their clients? How do you find out, is it two guys in a truck or somebody's marking up 20%, somebody's marking up 50%? How do you do the research on competitors to know where you need to be in order to be successful?
one way is to just look at um, the different social media sites and promotional sites like Angie's, to see who's advertising. Check the Better Business Bureau in your area, or in your market. Um, just talk to realtors who deal with the uh, resale market and see who they've worked with, who they've recommended, and uh, who their clients have had difficulty with. Uh, and then, uh, it's once you've done the research, then you just kind of need to analyze it and find out, okay, how are they pricing it? Um, and, can I be competitive?
Okay. Now, being competitive, what does that, does it involve, like, if you're looking at $100,000 remodels or 300,000 remodels, or looking at, the high-end neighborhoods, the low-end neighborhoods, is that part of that research?
That's part of the research, but in, you know, I'm really involved in the National Association of Home Builders
Mm-hmm.
and a big proponent of their education. And in one of the courses I took, um, with regard to marketing, the uh, the instructor said something that really stuck with me, and that was, you need to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. And
Mm-hmm.
you can either differentiate yourself by product, by price, or by service. The problem with trying to differentiate yourself by product is that it's very easy for a competitor to basically do what you're doing.
Right.
And competing by cost, you really don't want to compete on cost. You want to make sure that you're making the gross margin and the net margin that you need to survive. Customer service is the big one. If you have a good process and great customer service, that's really hard to copy. And
Okay.
that will get you more recurring work than anything else.
So how do you go about building great service?
You make sure it's about educating your clients. One, you have to have a very good contract, well, spelled out so that you set the expectations up front. Uh, you need to then communicate with your client regularly. Have if you can't afford to invest in a customer relation uh, program, you just need to then be available by phone or by email and respond promptly. Um, be able to, if you can't answer their questions immediately, um, give them a date certain or a time certain when you'll be back and respond to them. Um, Other things that are important is to keep the job site clean and neat. Um, Make sure that all the subcontractors that you use are customer focused and they don't leave cigarette butts laying around the yard or empty soda cans sitting on finished window sills, that kind of thing.
So can you give me an example of a company, not give me the name, but just, construction company that you worked with that was able to increase their, profit and success due to your interaction and what you did?
One of my first clients was a young lady from Twin Falls, Idaho, and she was just starting out as a home builder. And she contacted me. I gave her a copy of my book, and I helped her craft her business plan. And now she's probably one of the most successful home builders in her market. And she does it all by customer service. She has a very strong social media presence, and she's always posting about jobs and um, interviewing clients. Um, it's just those kind of things that are really important to people looking for a remodeler.
Okay. So, and so tell me something, well, some people you think that have failed and why they've failed. What mistakes do people need to avoid? Like the typical guy who's in business and goes out of business.
Well, again, it's all about market research, and most builders and remodelers that I've encountered really don't understand market research. They they use what I refer to as follow the herd market research. They
Mhm.
look around, see what other guys are doing, and try and do the same thing. The problem with that is, we're in an ever-changing market. New products are being introduced all the time. And if you're following the herd and the market changes, if you're at the front of the herd, you're going to be okay. But if you're at the back of the herd, you're either going to step in a lot of dung or,
Right.
end up
Well,
being falling prey to predators.
now what about everybody says you should use Google marketing or you have a marketing budget. There's lots of ways to, you know, how do you determine what you're going to spend on marketing, what marketing you're doing for your market research? Because you hear a lot of, well, I spend so much on Google, I spend so much on Instagram, whatever. How do you find out what you should spend and where you should spend it?
The key is to, first determine who your market is and then research the different options to see what their demographic profile is. You know, uh, we know that Facebook, is a younger profile. Um, if you're um, if you're working on or looking for high-end clients, you're probably going to be better off marketing on LinkedIn, um, or someplace like YouTube. Um, it, you know, it's all about understanding your client or your
So, so
your
question, so
target market.
do you do this market research for a client or they tell them how to do it on their own? Let's say I've got a remodeling company in Kansas City. I'm doing like a number 3 million. Um, do I hire a marketing company? Do I hire you? How do I do my market research effectively?
I In my book I talk about it, and it's actually the market research and analysis is one of the first chapters. And when I'm working with the client and coaching them, we go through the the market research to determine who that target market is, and then we do the research to determine um, where you find that target market. You know, I worked for a developer years ago, and they were they were developing a relatively high end um, development, and yet they were spending thousands of dollars on ads at the local movie theater.
Which is not
And
where the hang out, right?
right, and that wasn't getting them any results. And the other thing you have to do then is once you decide on a media or a venue, you have to monitor your leads and determine how much you're spending per lead, um, so that you know whether you're getting a good return on investment or a poor return on your investment. And if it's a poor return, then it's time to change media.
Right. And how often, once a month, once every 6 months, how often should you do that research?
I I recommend that you review the business plan quarterly, particularly in the market that we're in. because things change on a weekly basis almost anymore.
Mhm. And so do you have any recommendations on a business plan, like how long it should be, what you should do for it? Because a lot of these guys don't have business plans at all. So where do you start with that?
Well, my recommendation would that they buy my book, Plan to Profit, because it has a complete um, template. It walks you through writing a working business plan step by step. Unlike a lot of the software and templates that are available online, they're more focused on what kind of a business plan you need to obtain financing.
Right.
Uh, what I focus on is a business plan that will be what I like to refer to as the most important tool in your toolbox.
Okay. And where do they find your book?
It's on Amazon.com,
Okay.
Barnes and Noble, um, and several other sites.
So what's the name of the book again? So let's just remember.
Plan to Profit, Business Planning for Builders and Remodelers.
That's pretty straightforward as far as title goes, right? It says exactly what it is.
Mhm.
Um, well, Chuck, if people want to get a hold of you or get your book, I mean, should they read your book before they call you, or should they call you and get your book? And what order should we do that in?
Either way, if they're just wondering, and they want some information, call me. I'm usually available by phone, and I I love to talk to individuals, and I'm in this to help people.
Right. So unlike some larger consulting firms, they actually get you, right?
Right.
Cool. So what number should they call?
It's area code 208-571-0755.
Okay, and they can just call you and get you advantage of your expertise, talk to their business, what they do, and sort of do a discovery call to find out if it makes any sense, right?
Right. And or they can email me at chuck@chuckmillerconsulting.com.
Okay, cool. Well, I would say if you're listening to this and you don't have a coach or looking for a coach, or you want a coach where you're not going to talk to, they have like 50 coaches, you get to pick one, you get to talk to the guy himself, I would definitely give Chuck a call. Thanks, Chuck. I appreciate you being here, and I hope people listen to this give you a call if they need that kind of help.
Okay. I hope they do too, because I would really like to turn that failure rate around.
That'd be a good thing. Thanks, Chuck. I appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you.